Hey, Daddy-O, join us for the 1950s to the 1960s. You're watching Barber Dave's Barbershop at Home, Shave Across the Decades. Thank you very much.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Hey, dolls and daddy-os, welcome to the 1950s. But before we get started, right over here, www.theshavingcadre.com. Please come and see us. And right over here, Drinks and Dave's tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Be there right here on this channel and over at Nurse Dave's joint. And please, please, please come and visit us because we've got a special guest, KJ, aka the Spider, from the TSC. Got my Lucky Strikes right here. We're ready to do a 1950 shave with shaves across the decade. So I hope we're going to have a lot of fun. But hey, it's the 50s, 1951. CBS gave us color. So hey, why don't we go into the colorized world, don't you say? Okay, I realize that was a horrible 50s accent, but you guys have come to expect that from me. Okay, what are we shaving with today? Pretty much everything today is period specific to the 1950s. So first, let's talk about the razor. This is something that I'm really, really proud of. The nice thing about being a barber is that clients get to know you and they give you stuff, which is kind of cool. So one of my clients came in one day and had this in his hand. It was his grandfather's or his grandfather's or his father's. I can't remember. But can you tell by the case? Now, the case is a little worn, but that's right, a 1953 Gillette President. And this thing is in pristine condition. I mean, this thing is just beautiful. I don't know it had ever been used, but I've had this for a while and I don't use it that often. It's got a brand new Persona Lab blue blade in it. I didn't have any of the original blades. Okay, what about the soap and the brush? The brush is period specific. This is a rubber set 404. Yes, it's got a TGN Finest knot in it, but this is also specific to the time frame. And for our soap, there was a bunch of different soaps that I could use. There was Old Spice, but hang on, there's a surprise on that one. But one soap that was around for a long time that a lot of gentlemen used was this one. Tabac, that's right. You know it, you love it. A 1950s stable. And then English leather, of course, 1950s. We're also going to be using the Tabac cologne in the bar, and this hasn't changed much. The one thing that's a little bit not 60s, but because it's Elvis, I had to do the KAVN, the Avon Wild Country Decanter. So that's what we're doing today. So let's see what happens. I do apologize. This is somewhat of a late day shave. We were putting up fencing today. We just got done, and it's about 2:30 p.m. local time, so this will be a little bit of a late shave today. I remember watching my dad shave with Tabac and Brut and stuff like that, and all those are, the Brut's going to be coming probably in the 70s, but tomorrow's shave, the 1960s, I am really excited about because everything in there is period specific. Everything. Right down to the clothing, the watch, everything. So Tabac is just a wonderful, wonderful soap. This is the original formula from way back. Okay, let's see how this president does. Smooth, smooth, smooth. I was researching because obviously at the front of this you saw my my pompadour and kind of Elvis-esque thing, and I was kind of searching to see what Elvis shaved with, and the best that I could find was that he did start getting into electrics, but he also shaved with a Wilkinson Sword straight razor, and I have never seen one of those, so that was kind of cool. But this, the TTO razors were really into their own. most of the younger daddy-os and dolls, well, I don't know about the dolls, but the daddy-os, getting ready for a Saturday night cruise down on the boulevard, maybe over to Mel's Diner. Probably use this or something, you know, a TTO style razor, whether it be a Tech or a Super or a flare tip. Just a wonderful razor. It means a lot to me because it's in such good shape. And I do appreciate all the comments on the shaves across the decades. It's been fun to do. We still got a ways to go. So tomorrow will be 1960s to 1970. Then Tuesday will be 1970 to 1980. And then the following week will be 80 to 90, 90 to 2010, and then 2010 to current, I guess. Forgot where I was at. This is a Y1 date code, which makes it 1953, if I'm remembering my dating. And I think that the president, the Gillette president, and the Gillette diplomat were the same or very similar. Those of you Gillette DE guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Because like I said, I do mostly straights. We're going to try to get to them in the next couple of sessions. And tomorrow's shave is really going to be for one of my good buddies in Las Vegas, Stephen Crosby, or Heisai as he's known on the forums. And I sent him some wonderful things to prepare him for that tribute. And I got notification that the eagle has landed. Oh, just a beautiful shave. I don't know why I don't shave with tobacco more often. Probably because I have hundreds and hundreds of soaps. And this got relegated to somewhere in the back of the vault. But there's so many, nowadays there are so many copies, or should I say homage, to the Rubber Set 404, 403, and everything else. But if you can find an original and clean it up, whether that be a 404 or a 403, do so. Because it's just cool to have that. I don't know if you can see it. I don't have my glass on, but that rubber set on the bottom is just really cool. And knowing it's from the time period that we're spending in today. But I know some of you are excited because we're finally back in color. And I guess it should be noted that I did this for you guys. I don't even smoke cigarettes anymore. I do smoke cigars, but I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. But fortunately, I'm lucky enough to have somebody in the house that does. Or unfortunately, however you want to look at it. Just a little bit of cleanup. It's a fairly, I don't want to say it's a mild razor, but I would say it's medium aggressive as far as the aggressiveness of the shave. And this is also a brand new blade, so brand new blade can be a little bit harsh. But as I said, I mean, as far as a specimen of a Gillette President TTO, it is just in perfect shape. And this is in the original condition. It did come with a tuck of blades. I have no idea where I put them, but it's got a really nice presentation box, and I keep it right here all the time. So I hope you enjoyed the 1950s. We're going to go get our rail job ready and go out and watch Milner and Falfa race. Okay, there's a movie reference, 2 movie references. Can you guys get them both? Put it in the comments. Because I was supposed to ride in the pie wagon. There's another movie reference. Can you say what it is? Okay, and for our, now what are we going to use today? Let's do the alum first. Absolutely zero. And we'll clean this up real quick. And I'll show you the knot that's in this rubber set. It did have, when I got it, I got this from a dear friend Celestino years ago. And it had, didn't have any knot in it. And when I was looking at knots to put in it, if I had to do it over again, I'd probably put a synthetic knot in it. But at the time, the TGN finest knots were all the rage. And this is 24 millimeter. And the rubber set 403s, I think, were 22 millimeter. But it's just a beautiful razor. Brush, Dave. This is a brush. A beautiful brush, though. Okay, so let's rinse off and we'll finish up. I have a Zoom call here in about probably an hour. So we're really excited about that. After working in the yard and around the property all day, it'll be nice to have a drink and a cigar. And you know what? We're going to use Thayer's Lemon today. So this shave was probably a bit representative of what your parents or your grandparents, for those of you young whippersnappers, shaved, and that was tobacco. And again, I showed you the razor and the brush. And we're going to start off with KAVN. Now, I know this is probably from the 60s, the best I can do, but this was also given to me by KJ Vizino, a.k.a. Spider, who's going to be on Drinks and Daves tomorrow night. So come and join us. So it's kind of a tribute for him. And this has got Wild Country in it, which is I don't know if I would call it an Old Spice type. But I guess you could argue that it is. But very nice, very Western in its feel. And like these older, and what's funny is this came in the original box and everything else. And the juice in here I had cracked it open. It was the very first time. And, you know, so this is from minimum the early 1960s, or 64-ish, I guess. You know, somebody can throw in there. But having been a DJ at one time, this was perfect. Plus being the host of the TSC radio show, this is fantastic to have, and I cherish that. And it sits in a high prominent place. Then we're going to go to what your dad used, English leather. Yeah, so this is like a aftershave and cologne multiverse today. Very leathery, powdery, but just really, really nice. And for our talc, we're going to use barbershop specific from the time, and that would be Clubbin'. Ooh. Talc bomb. But I'll look so nice when I'm sitting in the rail job, having a cheeseburger and a chocolate malt. It's funny I mentioned that because when I was younger, cruising was still really, really big. And we used to cruise. I had a 1966 Mustang, and we cruised, of all things, Speedway here in town. And it was a lot of fun. That was back when you could actually park and the cops would come by and they'd talk to you. They wouldn't chase you off, or there wasn't gang fighting and stuff like that, or at least if there was, we didn't know it. And then, of course, all the flirting with the girls that had their own hot rods and stuff like that, so it was pretty good. Love the nostalgia stuff. So I do need to thank you guys, all my viewers, for that. Also, I do need a favor, if you would. Please, please, please go over to Drinks and Daves, and that's at Drinks and Daves on YouTube right here, and subscribe. We want to get to 100. Once we do, we can transfer the platform to that channel, and it can be standalone, so you don't have to watch on either one of our channels. So we'd certainly appreciate that. And I've got 1,062 subscribers, and I only need 60 to go over there and do that. So please do that. Okay, tobacco. In the bowling pin. This is the cologne. Oh, this stuff is so nice. And yes, it gets slathered on and stuff like that. So it's just wonderful stuff. All right, folks, that's it. Shaves across the decades, 1950s. Please join us tomorrow for the 1960s. This is one that I'm really, really excited about because the razor is time specific. In fact, the razor wasn't issued to these folks because basically, I'll give you a little hint. The shave is going to be out of this world. Yes, my assistant just told me, but it's going to be a tribute to NASA because 1968 was probably the worst year in the United States. So there's 3 people that saved 1968, and then later one person actually shaved in outer space, and that's who the tribute is, right down to the shirt that he wore when he was in mission control. So anyhow, I'm Barber Dave. This has been Barber Dave's Barbershop at Home. Hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful remainder of your Sunday, and we'll see you again tomorrow for 1960 to 1970 Shaves Across the Decade. Take care.